I get this question all the time. Is Fallout 76 good now? Should I give Fallout 76 another try? I quit during beta. Has Fallout 76 fixed itself? Should I re-download it? And every single time I get that question, I've made several videos on this topic in the past, it's always like well, still kind of depends on what your preferences are. Just because you're a fan of the past ones doesn't mean you'll like this one, and even further, Fallout 76 is definitely not a totally fixed game. Although, we do find ourselves in a very interesting time, especially in relation to that question, as there's a few major factors coming together all at once that I think almost make it an easy yes for some people. Even if you're kind of wary or on the fence about it, I might be able to convince you with this video, and I'll show you why. The first of which, of course, being the global pandemic that is keeping so many people at home. Many people, and I'm sure many of you at home, probably find yourself with just an abundance of free time. For some of you, this is good reasons. You're just home from work getting paid. Others, it's not so good reasons. But either way, it gives you a lot of time for additional gaming. And I know a lot of people have actually been curious about Fallout 76 during this time period. With users stuck at home, Wastelanders coming out in just 2 weeks from when this video is posted, or technically 2 weeks in 1 day, I've been getting more messages now about Fallout 76 and curiosity about its nature than I ever have before, so it seemed like a very appropriate time for this video. So for the simple question, is Fallout 76 good now? Has the game made a total comeback and is finally in a very playable and mass appealing state? Well, no. I mean, frankly, if you look at the game from now to 6 months ago, very little has changed. There hasn't been a ton of new content, there's been very little in the way of new updates, and the answer to that question may in fact change in just 2 weeks when Wastelanders comes out, and Fallout 76 itself is miles better than it was at release. But my recommendation as to whether or not you should play Fallout 76 now isn't really pivoting on the perfectness of the game. There's still a plethora of problems as far as bugginess or just hiccups here and there to even just content problems. There still really isn't an endgame. And maybe Wastelanders solves some of them, maybe it solves all of them, or maybe it doesn't solve many of them. But one of the big reasons I think Fallout 76 is really appealing right now is it's just really cheap. If you go on Amazon or most other retailers' websites right now, you could find a copy of Fallout 76 for either PS4 or Xbox One for under $20. If you actually track the price of this from release, they've just been gradually going down as I guess Amazon, among other places, have been wanting to get rid of the old stock. And this is the lowest price I've ever seen for this game as far as a reputable website does go. Now, an important note, these are physical copies of the game, so you have to actually wait for it to ship to you, but both are Prime eligible. And again, your local retailer may literally have a copy similarly priced. And if you're somebody stuck at home right now that has a ton of free time, is a fan of some of those past Fallout games, but really passed up Fallout 76, for $18, it's not hard to recommend. It's actually very easy to recommend at $18. Although, an important disclaimer, for some of you, I know it's not a money thing. You don't want to support the game because of past decisions by Bethesda for launching a buggy game, not giving refunds, and then all the other bad press and bad decisions they've made. As far as that, there hasn't been much bad decisions as of late, but there hasn't been much in the way of decisions as of late. And if you are turned off from the game from that perspective, almost a PR perspective, I don't think now is suddenly a great time to buy. Things have been quiet, but that's just because there hasn't been much releasing. Although this convenient lower price is specifically on the consoles. For PC users, if you're going to official websites, it'll still be $40. At $40, it's a bit harder of a sell, as frankly, the PC version is just worse. They're in a constant onslaught of exploits, hacks, and just other problems. The nuclear winter mode is basically dead on PC compared to consoles. I mean, just look at the player numbers on a couple of PC matches versus a couple of console matches at the exact same time. The endgame economy is way worse off on PC due to much of this hacking. And with Fallout 76, the biggest appeal of PC, outside of keyboard and mouse mods, aren't really a thing. There are a few retexture mods or miscellaneous mods here or there, but the Fallout 76 modding scene hasn't taken off, and I don't envision them adding mod support anytime soon. So as such, for me, I would definitely say the console versions of this game are a lot more appealing, like it's better. If I was reviewing them both right now, I would rank the PC version lower than the console version. And with that in mind, at $18 or so, it's again not a hard sell. The Battle Royale mode won't be for everyone. On consoles, it's a lot more healthier. It has a very active audience there. Definitely not as large as other Battle Royales, but you'll be easily to find matches with a good amount of players, and it's fun. I definitely have hours upon hours of enjoyment in this mode, mostly on PC, but in many ways, playing on consoles is more fun just because there are a lot more people. The maps are full and you're not just wandering around endlessly like you are on PC. And as far as the Battle Royale mode goes, even though it hasn't seen a ton of new content over the past 6 to 8 months, on consoles it's still a pretty solid experience. There's not a ton of exploits or hacks or glitches. But even beyond that, regardless of which platform you're playing on, the adventure mode is fine. It's without a doubt the most popular mode for Fallout 76 and really the broadest appeal with this game, where you'll find most people. And this too actually has a ton of great content for you to experience. This mode definitely is buggier than the Battle Royale mode. There's just more hiccups and glitches that you'll experience all throughout. Although these aren't so much game-breaking anymore, from time to time they can be frustrating, but I haven't had any significant loss of progress or nearly as many crashing issues as I have in past iterations of this game. And there's really two main appeals to this mode. You can either go the main story, almost single-player-esque aspect. With Fallout 76, it's an odd game in that many users didn't play the main story, or even fewer actually played it in chronological order. Technically, with Fallout 76's main story, one region will lead into another, as you are introduced and find out the backstory of all of the factions throughout the game. And over time, you will find out what exactly happened to all of these people and why these crazy monsters are everywhere. What ends up happening is a lot of people are like, alright, I don't really care as much about the responders, and just beeline it to the enclave on the other side of the map, so then you don't have all the context for that next part of the story. It still allows you to do those quests, but it just makes a lot more sense, and it's a lot more fun to actually play this alone. Go from section to section and do the story in order. And although after a while you'll probably grow tired of the passive storytelling, listening to holotapes, reading terminal entries, Fallout 76 did something really well, and that was actually make you feel alone and somewhat scared. As you're out there doing the main story by yourself, because I don't think you should do it with a team, it doesn't really make a ton of sense to have a bunch of friends with you talking in your ear as you're trying to listen to a holotape, you really get that sense of eeriness. You just find all these destroyed structures, some loot here or there. But since there aren't any human NPCs, I feel like in some ways this game encapsulates the apocalypse better so than any of the past Fallouts. But again, one of the main problems with the way this story is told and even the content itself, a lot of it gets old really fast. But I would definitely give this a go, see how far you make it, and who knows, maybe you'll end up loving the way the story is told in this game. And honestly, from a story perspective, the writing here is solid. The story is genuinely interesting, again, especially if you go in order. Or alternatively, on the other side of things, with the base game, you can just focus on the social aspects. Doing some of the events with other players, trading, or trying to get involved in the economy. You'll be able to find player camps all over, and even just checking those out can be pretty cool to see what people have done with that system. And eventually working your way towards the later aspect of the game. Even if you're just playing this early to get ready for Wastelanders, your character will carry over, so you'll have all of that higher tier equipment compared to just going to Wastelanders from level 1. And really, that's the other major part about Fallout 76 that I think makes it so appealing right now. What we have with this product currently is mediocre. It has too many problems, both in a bugginess way and a content way, to be considered one of the best entries or even one of the better entries in the franchise. But it's not outright horrible anymore either. It's definitely a very playable game and a game that you could probably get some enjoyment out of. Although I imagine with Wastelanders right around the corner, once that big DLC comes out, a lot of people will never play the base story of Fallout 76, because who wants to go from human NPCs back to no human NPCs and just robots that talk endlessly? Human NPCs will definitely be the improvement, but this gives you a chance to actually check out the content now, and even if you hate it, even if none of it lands for you, for just $18, you'll have Wastelanders in a couple of weeks. And I think when you combine what content is there already with Wastelanders, even if it is only mediocre, it'll probably be worth your money. And I imagine if nothing else, you'll get quite a few hours of enjoyment out of this game, especially with how little it actually costs and how much free time so many people have. Wastelanders is looking promising. It'll likely have some asterisks in the corner, Bethesda limiting us in some way or doing something silly. At this point, it's basically become a staple, so I don't see why it would suddenly stop. But for $18 of my money, it's a lot easier to justify that experience. As long as it's mostly okay, you'll definitely be happy. So again, just to recap, to be clear with this video, it's not like Fallout 76 is in some phenomenal shape now that suddenly it's so easy to recommend. It's honestly just all these outside factors. Wastelanders right around the corner, the availability of the base game content, and the availability of you being able to get what is likely going to be at least somewhat enjoyable game for so little. If you're even remotely a fan of some of the other Fallout games, I would highly recommend at least giving this one a try. Again, if you are okay with buying it, if you're okay with still supporting Bethesda despite all of the things they've done in the past. Now, $40 on PC, that's a much harder sell. I imagine we'll see some kind of sale at some point soon. They probably want people buying this game for Wastelanders. Maybe in the weeks following Wastelanders, we'll see a sale similar to Black Friday with the original release of the game. But either way, those are my thoughts on that. I'm sure some of you won't agree with me, but those are my true opinions. Hopefully you guys found this video informative or just entertaining, getting a different perspective on my thoughts on Fallout 76 and how the bar of the worth it factor is gradually moving. Unfortunately, this time moving in the right direction. With that being said, I thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.